How's it going, guys? So 6th gen Camaro on the dyno tonight.
2016, first year of the 6th gen, SS, 8-speed automatic. I want to say this color is called Hyper Blue, but I could be wrong about that. Might get corrected on the comments, but nice looking car. So this car came to us with just this CAI intake on it. And we added an NA package to it. So we did our stage 2 top end, normally aspirated setup. So MSD intake that I port, Katech 103 throttle body, obviously the CAI, we retain that. Not our first choice, but not a bad intake. I think the rotofabs make a little bit more power. We've seen that on the dyno, but anyway. So yeah, we retain that, Katech 103, MSD ported, heads are ported, our stage 2 LT1 normally aspirated cam, 2-inch American Racing headers, 3-inch X-pipe, and the customer also had Borla attack mufflers on this already. So we retained those, got those hooked up to the American Racing system, and it's nice and loud. So 93 octane only. We are not doing a flex fuel setup on this car. This couple kind of just wanted more for sound, not so much racing, so we didn't do the flex kit on this. That is worth, you know, $20-25 versus what we'll end up with this, but we still should see, you know, low 500s with this setup with the automatic, and that's still good for a 10-second car. So we've proven that out several times with this package. This car will also get, we haven't installed it yet, it will get a 2800 stall converter, which we just pretty much, when we do the stage 2 cam with the automatics, we pretty much got to do a converter. You can get away with it if you really wanted to, but it just doesn't drive very well in traffic. This stage 2 cam, you got to have it idle about 800, 850. And when you're trying to do that with the stock torque converters on the 8 and 10 speeds, the stock torque converters are really tight. They stall real low. And when you're sitting in traffic, the car just kind of wants to push up against the brakes. And as you're kind of creeping in traffic, they start to buck pretty bad. And it's just the nature of how choppy the idle is on these things. So yeah, I think that kind of covers under the hood here. I was going to just fire it up. I was just thinking to you guys, why don't I just fire this thing up? I don't have the drivability and the tuning completely dialed in on this thing yet, as far as, so the idles might roll around a little bit, but you get the idea with the Borla. So we'll get this, I got kind of a bass tune loaded up into it just to get it to, obviously, to idle. I've done enough of these where I can get the VE table and torque tables and stuff dialed in, so it'll at least fire up and start and idle, and we can move it around the shop and stuff like that. I always do my final drivability and idle tuning out on the street, but obviously we use the dyno for the wide open throttle and to see what kind of gains we pick up over just that intake and just those mufflers. So I'll get it spun up a couple times. It'll probably take me 4 or 5 pulls, and I'll video the last one. We'll go over the graphs, go over the data log, and we'll go from there. Up on the screen, they look pretty much identical. Just playing with the air fuel a little bit. Doesn't look like I really picked up much or lost any. I tried it richening it up a little bit on the final pull, and it lost a smidge. 3 foot-pounds and a little bit, except for up top. So I'll probably go back to the previous, but yeah, right at 520, about 470 torque. That's looking pretty good for this heads cam deal for our stage 2 package for an automatic on pump gas. Again, we're pump gas on this one, 93 octane. Yeah, so curb looks nice. Took it out to 7,000. Probably have this car shift around just around 7,000, probably pretty much right up there. So the shift recovery will come back right down to 5,500 or so with this 8-speed, and you get this nice power band right there. So we'll take a look at the log. So air fuel, you can see I'm 0.87, 0.86. I tried adding a little bit of fuel to it, but just to see what it would do. I was hovering right at about 0.87 on Lambda. You can see here it's trending more towards 0.86, and I mean, we're kind of splitting hairs at, it didn't lose any power, lost a little of the mid-range, so I could lean up the mid-range a little bit maybe. It did like that, but again, pump gas deal. It's pretty cool in the shop right now. I do, obviously with the timing tables and the way that, colder air it's denser, the mass airflow picks that up, and the air mass reads higher. So, and then there's some humidity tables on these cars too. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. Everything's nice and flat. Timing is, that mid-20 zone, about where a pump gas cammed LT1 likes to be with the 11.5 to 1 compression. You just don't need a whole ton of timing. Even 25 degrees I think is pushing it for just 93. E85, 26-ish is pretty much where they'll stop making power. You can add a degree or two on E85. Anything more than that, they just don't make any more power. They won't knock, but again, this is a pump gas deal, so I probably would pick up some knock if I tried to throw a bunch more timing at it, but it won't make any more power anyway, so it's pointless. So yeah, this looks really good. It's pretty cold in the shop right now, but obviously the dyno stack picks that up and corrects for the cooler air. So that's looking good. Dyno graph looks exactly like it should for this package. I've done several of these, obviously, and my car is one of them. I have this same package on my car. Mine's a manual SS1LE 2017, and I'm running on E85 on my. So it being a manual and E85, that car makes closer to 600 wheel. But those two things alone, the automatics read quite a bit less. Typically about 30 horsepower less on the automatics than the manuals with these 8 speeds. Just how the dyno reads. So what we can do then too is I'll close both of these out, and we will, let's bring up a baseline. Now if I can get one that doesn't have a whacked out RPM reading. There we go. That's the baseline. And there's our final. So maybe you will notice right away that down here we do lose, but with that bigger camshaft, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Once we get into the stage 2 and beyond cam, you are going to lose power on the bottom end. It's just inevitable. These LT1s with the variable valve timing cam, with the stock VVT cam, they're really super flat on the torque, all the way down to 2,000 RPM. You can see I start these runs way down. And so when we do a fixed cam, a larger cam like this cam has a low 230s intake lobe and an upper 240s exhaust lobe. It's just the nature of the beast. You're going to trade something off. But you can see from 3,200 RPM and up, we're gaining a whole lot. So with this package, so that's a pretty healthy increase. That's 100, almost 140 some with the wheels, 146. Yeah, I mean I'll take that back. Sorry. It's the end of the week. It's Friday night, and I'm a little bit slow. So torque, we picked up 70, and 36 at the wheels for power increase, NA. So that's pretty awesome to be able to do that on something like this. And I'm just kind of looking at the graphs here. Have letting you guys look at them. So yeah, big increase. You're obviously going to feel that, especially with the converter. This stage 2 cam, we do a converter. It's part of the package in the automatics. You can kind of get away with it if you really wanted to. You can get away with it on the street with the stock converter, but it just doesn't drive very good. You have to have it idling over 800 RPM, about 850, and it makes for kind of a miserable driving experience when you're sitting in traffic and the car's bucking up against the brakes. And so we put a 2800 stall in it and it smooths it right out. It makes it way more enjoyable to drive. And when you whack the throttle, you're instantly right up to where, you know, you're right into the gain of the package. So, yeah. So that'll do it for this one, guys. I got to get it out on the street. Hopefully we can get a clear day here. We're a week out of Christmas here, and the snow is hitting, and this car might have to sit for a little while until we get some clear weather, so I can take it out on the street, get the shift points dialed in perfectly, get the drivability dialed in perfectly. So come spring, this car is ready to rock. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. I like reading comments and answering questions and stuff on the channel, so feel free to do that, and we'll talk to you guys later.